Every day, over 100,000 Australians use public transport, crisscrossing our cities, our states, and our country. By its very nature, public transport is used by everyone, of all ages and from all walks of life. Commuters, students, shoppers, tourists, people. Australian public transport, however, is facing an ongoing challenge. Large parts of the public transport network remain unusable to those with accessibility needs. Not all accessibility needs require you to have a visible disability. For example, elderly people have trouble using stairs, young children are vulnerable to large gaps between platforms. Accessibility means usable by everyone, no matter their case. To give some perspective, roughly 4.4 million Australians have a disability of some kind. This includes broadly over 3 million with some kind of physical disability. More specifically, this includes 375,000 people with visibility problems, 193,000 wheelchair users, and nearly 250,000 suffer from some kind of hearing loss. There are many accessibility features built into modern Australian public transport infrastructure, whether it be our trains, buses or trams. We often don't think about them in our day-to-day commutes. Since 1992, these features have been mandatory thanks to the Disability Discrimination Act, which forces transport agencies to build in some of the following features, such as audio features, which include station announcement or doors beeping when they close. Physical features such as tactile paving to warn the visually impaired of changing surfaces. On a larger scale, this means new and rebuilt stations are always built with long ramps and sometimes lifts to help those who need them. Since about 2000, buses have been bought as low floor, meaning people with accessibility issues can easily board. These buses make up nearly 100% of Australia's public transport fleet at the moment. While these features are helpful for everyday commuters, they can be a lifesaver for those who have accessibility issues. One of the main reasons public transport needs to be accessible is that people with disabilities are a disadvantaged group and are poorer than the average Australian population. This makes them more reliant on public transport if they can't afford to own a car or catch a taxi often. A public transport system can be ill-designed to accommodate their needs. In addition, people with disabilities commonly have jobs outside rush hours. This means they often rely on public transport during hours where it is less frequent, especially acute during weekends, where public transport is run at a much reduced schedule. This is a problem for people with accessibility needs, waiting too long for services and service transfers. To give some perspective on how wide the issue is, according to the ABC, 1 in 4 train stations in Australia have accessibility issues. In real terms, this means people with disabilities and accessibility issues can't use around 270 of Australia's 960 passenger railway stations. Or another example is that people with accessibility needs can't use almost the entirety of Melbourne's tram network as it hasn't been upgraded to suit their needs. The solution to getting more accessible public transport largely comes from advocating politicians and transport departments to conduct network upgrades. While city councils sometimes can pay station upgrades themselves, we heavily rely on state and federal money. Politicians are often against providing money for station upgrades because they aren't as flashy as new infrastructure like train line extensions. The best way to solve the issue is to make sure everyone in a community cares about our public transport network. Public transport is available to anyone, no matter their age or personal ability. Everyone should want a more accessible network. After all, it doesn't just benefit those with physical disabilities. Better train stations and tram stops allow better access for young children, parents with prams, travellers with suitcases, cyclists with bikes. It results in a safer and friendlier environment for everyone, as modern public transit design is leagues ahead of where it used to be, and considers many more users than it did in the past.